Good afternoon. I'm Chair Bobette Mays, and I would like to welcome you to the February 28, 2022 Neighborhood Advisory Committee virtual meeting. We will now call our meeting to order. The committee consists of 9 members, all appointed by the City Council with representation from specific community sectors. Members shall be residents of the city or the city's extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction and shall reflect the socioeconomic diversity of Asheville. The term of office is 3 years. The committee was established to advise the City Council on neighborhoods within the city of Asheville zoning and planning jurisdiction. The committee shall have the following powers and duties: develop rules and bylaws for the conduct of its business, including but not limited to meeting schedules, officers, voting, subcommittees. Number 2, develop a plan to strengthen neighborhood identity and resilience and to facilitate communication and cooperation between Asheville's neighborhood and city officers. 3, develop benchmarks and standards by progress towards implementing the plan can be measured. And number 4, work on special projects that are consistent with the goals of the committee as assigned or directed by the City Council. All committee members and staff are participating virtually. We appreciate your patience as we work through committee meetings a bit differently. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website and also linked on the committee page. We also have an option for the public to listen live by phone by dialing 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 9247. I'll repeat that again. 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 9247. For those of you who plan to speak during our live public comment today, you will need to hit number 3 to be put into the speaker queue. For those of you out there that today, you are welcomed. I'm now going through and introduce all committee members and staff who are participating virtually. For our committee members, make sure to mute your microphone if you're not speaking. When you have a question or would like to speak, click raise hand. When recognized by the chair, unmute your microphone. Remember to mute your phone after you are done speaking. Committee members, as I call your name, please say a quick hello. And this is a list of our members. My name is Bobette Mays, and I'm the chair at large, 2803. Greta Bush.
Hi, I'm Greta Bush, and I'm also at large.
JP Shalarka.
Hi, thank you, Babette. This is JP Chalarka. I represent the 28801 zip code.
Mike Wasmer. He may not be on right now. Wendy Hayner.
Hello, Bobette. Thank you. I'm Wendy Hayner, and I represent zip code 28804.
Peter Abzug.
Hi, I'm Peter Abzug. I'm at large, and I live in 28805.
Sharon Sumrall.
Hi, I'm Sharon, and I represent neighborhood 28805.
Elizabeth Lycus Worley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Lycus, and I'm an at-large member. I reside in 28803.
And Kim Roney, she's our next City Council liaison. I don't know if she's present tonight. She usually has a conflict, but she will review all of the what we've said on YouTube for information. Also in attendance are our city staff members. Dawa Hitch, Communication and Public Engagement Department Director. Dawa is filling in for the vacant position of Neighborhood and Community Engagement Manager. Again, I ask committee members to raise their hands and be recognized to speak. Please state your name each time you comment. Just a reminder that the public is listening on the phone, and this keeps them up to date on the order of the meeting and who is commenting or speaking. Additionally, I have asked, I know Sharon did this last time, if she would just kind of keep our time for us again. I appreciate that.
How long is our time?
Oh, well, if you look at the
Oh, I see, I
if you
see.
look at the agenda, you'll see the time limits on
Yeah.
there.
I've got it, Bobette. Thank you.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the January 24th, 2022 meeting? Can I have a motion to accept those minutes?
This is Elizabeth. I move we accept the minutes.
Elizabeth has moved to accept the minutes. Can I have a second?
This is
Wendy
Sharon.
Hainer.
I second.
Sharon, second. Is there any questions to that motion, to the minutes? If not, I'll go down and we'll get your approval. So let's start with, I'm an aye. Greta,
This is Greta. Aye.
JP,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Sharon,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
and I don't think that Mike has gotten on yet. So the minutes have been approved as you have read and so ordered. So let's go to the next. Okay, would you like to look at the review of today's agenda, and do you have any questions so far about the agenda?
Did you add any information, Bobette, regarding the focus group? Is that going to be on today's discussion, the boards and commissions changes? I know you attended the first meeting.
Yeah, and I think Dawa, she may have some more of an update. So let's see. If she doesn't, then maybe we'll come back and we'll bring that in somewhere closer to the end.
Okay.
Because I think it might have been confusing to some.
Yeah.
But I think it was more interesting the second time. If you'll hold on, JP has his hand up. Yes, JP.
Just a question about the long-term prospects and alignment with potential changes, if any, to the city's policy regarding in-person versus virtual mask mandates and the like. Is that going to impact us potentially for the next meeting? Or are we still holding for virtual-only types of settings?
Dawa, if you're there.
I am, and I can hop right in and share a few of those updates, and then if we want to also put it on our next agenda so that it's noticed, there's no action taken, so I don't think it's not a problem for me to share this information, but I do just want to memorialize it. So do you want me, Chair?
Do we have any public comments first, and then we'll let you go into that? Nope. Okay, so
No.
we're going right into Dawa, and she can answer some of the questions that you have asked.
All right, so I will start with virtual meetings. And while City Council has moved back to fully in person, as of this point in time, boards and commissions are still meeting virtually. And that is because there's certainly been an understanding that it provides opportunities for many who might have barriers to otherwise participate. So that's where we stand right now. So it is absolutely accurate that City Council's next meeting will be in person. However, at this point in time, boards and commissions are continuing on a virtual path. All right, so I think that was JP's question to Sharon.
A follow-up
sure.
to that then. Is that the decision of the City Council, or is that left to each individual board and commission to decide on their own?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. So because boards and commissions are appointed by City Council, the decision to move back to virtual or in person is definitely in the hands of City Council. All right. I guess that then takes us to the focus groups, and I'm happy to kind of give an overview of where city staff is with the exploration of a pilot to consider a restructure of our boards and commissions. As Sharon shared the conversation, well, let me back up a bit. I'm going to try to give you all a high-level overview of where we've been and where we are now, and we can certainly invite the city clerk's office to come and give a more detailed presentation if that's something that you all are interested in. But high level, why did this idea? Why is it even being explored? And that relates to some challenges that have been noted through exit interviews of board and commission members who have served and then either not finished their term, or they did finish their term and feedback at the end of their term about their experience with boards and commissions. And some of the things that were heard were that there is not always a clear understanding of how the work of the board and commission makes its way to city council, and some concerns about that. And I think that there's been some feedback that serving on a board and commission is certainly a time commitment, and then just having a clearer path to city council and how that information is shared is something that could be explored to just see if we're doing it in the most strategic and efficient way. So the exit interview and then other conversations that have been had, and then certainly there's been some feedback on the strategic end from city council where staff just asked, are we doing this in the most effective way? So I do want to say that there is absolutely value in all of the time that people spend, I think, contributing to decision making. And when time is spent on something that then is maybe not considered by city council, again, that's where some of the frustration lies. So we thought, is there a better structure where people can continue to engage and there is a clearer path to city council and better follow-up so that time spent can be what the outcome of that time spent can be seen by all, right? And so that is if a recommendation, goes to council in this new structure, there's, I think what's being proposed is a clearer path and offers opportunities for more accountability. So that is why was anybody even considering this idea? And again, the city clerk's office could certainly give this overview much more eloquently than because in this every day. So recognizing that certainly staff doesn't have all of the answers and there's a lot of value in all the people who serve, they wanted first to reach out to small focus groups to share the idea and get some feedback because no decision has been made yet. This is really just exploring, how might we do it better? And the intention is to start with the pilot, learn from the pilot, and then make a recommendation after the pilot if a different way seems like it could be more strategic and effective, as well as more inclusive. So inclusivity is another piece of this that is certainly being considered, recognizing that 1 hour, an hour and a half every month can be challenging for people that have barriers to participation, whether that's caring for an elder, caring for a child. When meetings are in person, we all know transportation and certainly childcare can all be challenges. So a 3-year commitment once a month is a big ask, and not everybody can commit to that level. So those are the 3 driving factors: more strategic, more efficient, and more inclusive. And it's, again, starting with the focus groups. Here's an idea, you react to this, what might we not have thought about, what else should be considered? And we are now moving with that input that we heard, some fine tuning has been made. We've certainly understood where there's areas where we could communicate better about what the intent of this effort is. And now there are larger community meetings that have been scheduled, again, to work with the community to hone in on what a path forward could look like. So overall, the structure for the pilot that is being suggested, again, we're still getting input, doing some fine tuning on that, is that essentially there would be advisory boards that would look more like boards and commissions now with the commitment, right? They meet on a regular basis and they're appointed by city council, and there would be fewer than there are right now, and they would be oriented towards the focus areas identified in the comprehensive plan. So that would give an opportunity to better align the input that we heard from the community, things that need to be explored, with fewer boards and commissions serving as a hub. Then that alignment, what the idea is that the alignment could be better connected to council. So if council has priorities, those priorities would go to the advisory board, and then the advisory boards would work through that and establish a working group. So the working group is the third facet of this proposal. And that is where there is intended to be an opportunity for more people to actually be engaged in things, because those working groups would be very specific. They would have a task that has come down from city council, and or will go up to city council through that board and commission. So all of the activity that happens in that area has a clear path, and there's more staff that can be, with fewer boards and commission, there will be fewer staff, and the consistency between those so that it's easier for people to access information, right? So when we've got more staff committed, then the way that we recruit folks for working groups, the way that meetings are noticed, it could be an easier way for people to keep up with all of the things that are being considered. Because right now with 30 plus boards, it is challenging for folks to understand. Like, let's say I'm interested in sustainability and I want to follow the things that are happening around sustainability. It's challenging to go to our website and try to figure out which board and commission is considering, a recommendation. When are they meeting? What action did they take? And then what's going to happen with that action? So recognizing that was part of this idea of having fewer advisory boards, and then really tapping into the power of a working group. So with respect to those working groups, the opportunity there, again, is there will be a very specific task that they are focusing on. It is not a public body, so there's more flexibility for how people can meet and do work in that area. So for example, those meetings don't have to be noticed, they don't have to be streamed, they don't have to have all of the things that by law we must do when we have a board and commission. So it's a little bit more flexible, and there will be a start and a stop date because they're looking into researching, making recommendations on one thing. So I know there have been questions about, well, who picks the people in these working groups, and an opportunity that we have with working groups is that people can self-select to participate. There is no picking. If you are interested in transportation and there is a working group being formed around some aspect of transportation, then anybody that wants to participate can. And that is a little bit different than what we've got right now. And again, it's time limited, so it's not a 3-year commitment. It's just for that working group. And when they come up with their recommendation to give to the advisory board, then their work is done and they can go back to their day-to-day lives, and then jump back in on another working group if they've got interest in that area as well. JP.
So there are certain concerns I'm starting to highlight, and they're becoming obvious to me. Is this method of having fewer, great. The method of having anybody participate as a risk expert to me jumps out as a problem because there's no regulation of the interest who will be participating and how loud of a voice they will be carrying. And without there being any type of vetting process, any type of conflict of interest and mitigation, this is an opportunity for us to really mess this up.
You might not know it, but you just tossed me an entrance into the next piece of this, and this is how are we managing inclusivity? So, and that question has certainly come up. The advisory boards will be tasked with making sure that the working groups are inclusive, and we're in the process.
I'm not saying
staff
inclusive.
is.
I'm not saying inclusive. I'm not referring to inclusivity. That should be business as usual. I'm talking about membership in these groups where there are conflicts of interest of the individuals participating.
Okay, so if it's conflict of interest, that is great feedback and certainly something that we'll want to have passed on to that group so that that can be part of the research that goes into it. So if I'm hearing you, and again, I'll try to pass this on to the group, but would encourage you to participate in the workshops. But addressing conflict of interest is something that must be considered before this could be successful, is what I hear you saying. Yep, that's a great point. And then on the there is a tool that we are developing that. And this may be a little bit too much on the inclusivity side of it, but I do want to share that with you all. So it's an engagement and stakeholder database. It sounds a little bit fancier than it actually is. A platform where we take public input, but the intention there is because as we develop communication and engagement plans, we ask these questions: who's most impacted? Who cares the most about it? Who's been present in this conversation? Who's adjacent to this project and would want to be involved? So as we're going through those with the advisory boards, and we would have more of an opportunity to do that because there's fewer, so they get more staff attention, right? That's consistent across the board. The database is a place where we will be asking folks to register so that we can be proactive in reaching out to people as the working groups are formed. So if we see with the folks that have signed up for a working group that we have a gap, for example, with young people, then we will have a list of folks that we can reach out to, and it's going to be our job in partnership with the advisor, our being staff, in partnership with the advisory boards to go out, get on the ground, knock on doors, do whatever we have to do so that there is broad representation in these working groups. So I think it could certainly address in our typical kind of demographic inclusivity, but also, if it is a transportation project and we see that people with disabilities are not represented in that working group, then we'll have a place where we can go, whether it's nonprofits that we've asked to sign up, or if it's individuals who have said, I've got a disability, or, I'm interested in issues around disabilities, to make sure as many voices are heard within that working group. So again, it's up.
Yeah, Sharon.
I'd like to say, because this was not on the agenda for brevity, because we've got other things on the agenda, that we put this on new business, because I would like to suggest that we have a working group subcommittee to discuss this. And I do believe NAC should have a position on this, but I don't think, thank you, Dawa, for all your information. But as you stated in the beginning, it's complicated. And I've sat through 3 presentations of it. And Dawa, you did the best I've seen in the shortest amount of time on what's going on. But I do believe I'd like to, if possible, Babette, put it under new business to see if we can get a subcommittee that's willing to discuss this and bring it back to NAC with more information that I mean, it's just a possibility because there is a lot of information here.
Yeah, and I would also encourage you to go. I think there's another session coming up this month in March, the
March
1st of
8th.
March.
Yeah, March 8th.
That it's interesting to be a part of, and I would say that, and YouTube for City Council.
So if I could put it on a new business agenda, and then we talk about it. And
Greta has her hand up.
Hi, I just wanted to mention, I have it on my calendar for March, for the 3rd. The next one is Thursday.
Yes,
I
there's,
have it on the 8th.
yeah, there's one March 3rd from 5 to 7. There's one March 7th from 12:30 to 2:30. And then there is one March 9th from 5 to 7.
Thank you.
And March 11th, I think. It's changed.
Behind the scenes. Oh, yes, 9 to 11. Thank you. I didn't scroll far enough on my calendar. Yes, ma'am. So 9 to 11 on Friday. March 11. All right.
Okay, so Dava, did you want to talk about the neighborhood and community and engagement manager and the neighborhood grants update since we're with you right now?
I will, and I will not need 10 minutes for that. So maybe we can make up some time there because I know we have a tight schedule. So I have disappointing news. And that is, so we did hold our interviews for the neighborhood and community engagement manager, and we did not find the candidate yet. And so we are going back out, just because we feel that it is so critical to just have the best match in such a critical position within our organization. So just wanted to let you all know that, just a brief update, and I'll continue to let you know how that shapes up. And then neighborhood grants, that one's short too. So we continue to meet with the neighborhoods that received the grants. I hope everybody got the spreadsheet with the email contact information. I know, Wendy, you'd said that you'd like to reach out to them. We don't have addresses, but we do have that email contact information. So just wanted to note that we had sent that out, and we're continuing to work through getting all of those agreements signed. There are, I think, at least one organization has, I think, received their funds so that they can go ahead and start their project. So we're real excited about it. And I'm curious, and we can revisit this, but just something for you all to think about. If I'm thinking about how we can hopefully a little bit later in the spring, reach out and do some tours of the project so we can connect with neighborhoods, and certainly wanted to include you all in that opportunity if you're interested.
Wendy?
Thank you, Bobette. I wanted to ask Dawa, we received the spreadsheet, but it doesn't state what the projects are that they are planning on doing.
Okay. I can add that. So what I'll do is I'll just add another, because I'm sorry, I didn't think about that. The spreadsheet is enormous, and I just picked those two columns. I'll just add another, I'll add that column. That's a miss on my part.
Thank you very much.
I'll add that to the document you're already.
Okay, Greta.
Just a question, Dawa. I don't see the neighborhood position on the job board. Is it up there on the city job board?
So it was taken down, and we're getting ready to have to reopen the position. So that will be coming soon. And I'm making some decisions about what order we do, if we do the manager position or the neighborhood specialist position. So yeah, it was closed. We interviewed, and now we're going to have to reopen it.
Okay. So you're looking still to replace both positions. Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Good to hear.
Any other questions? If not, let's go on to new business. I'm gonna open up the floor for vice chair. Do I have any interest Speak up. Don't be afraid. Okay, Greta.
I would like to nominate Sharon for vice chair.
Any other nominations? Well, I guess I need to put a motion on the floor for Sharon, vice chair. Got to have a motion on the floor if we're gonna elect her.
I'll make a motion to elect, or do I say elect Sharon?
Election
Let's
of
vote
vice
for
chair.
Sharon to be vice
Election
chair.
of vice chair for Sharon Summerall. That's from Greta. Can I get a second?
I second that.
Second that.
Who second? First, who second was it? Peter, we'll let you second it because you're really quiet. So that's what we'll do. So if there's no questions, we'll just go in and we'll just go down the list of committee members, and you can. I is for me. Greta.
Aye.
Trying to find out who my members are. I have just lost them.
JP.
Wendy,
Aye.
Sharon,
Aye.
JP.
Aye.
Let me see, who am I missing? I can't find my list. You know, that's what happens when you're out there trying to do so much. I got Elizabeth.
Aye.
Get you.
No, but I'm saying aye.
And Sharon. You're going to say aye to yourself?
I think that's it.
All right, then.
Aye.
Is that everybody? I said Peter.
Yep, aye.
If that's everybody, ayes have it, and so is ordered. Our new vice chair is Sharon Summerall.
Thank you.
Thank you. You could take a bow
Speech.
since you know.
Speech. Are you going to give me a list other than being timer of what I need to do?
Oh yeah, we'll talk. We'll meet.
We'll chat.
We'll meet with Dawa before the meetings and stuff, so you'll know.
Okay.
So do I have anybody that would like to be on the multimodal transportation, the liaison for that? Anyone interested?
I have a question. Why
Yes.
do we have multimodal on there? Has that always been part of or is that just because Anna was on it?
I think it was on there before. I think, was it Dawa? Was that on there before?
It has been on there for quite a while. I don't recall off the top of my head when it was introduced, but certainly when we started looking at kind of cross representation on boards and commissions, multimodal was one of the first, I think, that was chosen.
Okay, Greta.
I'm not volunteering myself. I just think that it seems to me that from my experience in the past on NAC, it just so happened that members were interested in doing both. I didn't realize that it was like assigned that somebody from the committee had to be on there. But if someone's interested.
Oh, so you're not raising your hand to do so.
Mm-mm.
Well,
Precious time.
I'm on a lot of stuff. So
Me
if
too.
anybody, I'm just on a lot. If no one else will do it, I will do it. But I am very busy. I am very, very busy. Elizabeth?
Well, I have a question. I think I was just appointed to a 1-year term to fill someone's seat. So I'm not sure if I'm eligible for that. But if that is that, because I'm not sure what happens to me, you know, at the end of this year. But I would serve on the multimodal commission, the liaison.
JP?
So unless there's clear documentation that this is in fact a requirement, it sounds to me like there's a maybe on the table instead of a definitely. So before we jump to volunteer, anyone or self-volunteer, can we absolutely make sure that it is in fact something that we're required to do, to Greta's point?
I'm going to say from what I remember, and I know Dawa may know more than I remember, but I think it was always important because it was a connection between the community and what was happening with transportation and all of those different areas. Am I right, Dawa? Is that why it was set up that way?
Yeah, we certainly can go back and look. I don't recall that it is a requirement or that it's written into the bylaws that there must be a representative from NAC. My recollection, and again, I'll go back and look, is that the Neighborhood Advisory Committee at that time had decided that there's such an impact. Transportation is such an impact on our neighborhoods that it would be wise to just have information sharing between the two.
So great. I think, again, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't, but just that if in fact it is something that we're required to do or has been a tradition, let the bylaws reflect that accordingly so there's no debate in the future going forward.
Okay, Sharon?
Yeah, and I would say if Elizabeth is willing to step up for the year, then I think it's wonderful that she'll take the commitment to do that. So there's a motion on the table. I nominate Elizabeth.
Well, I think it's just a volunteer type thing.
Oh,
I
is it?
I don't think it's something. So like what you were saying, JP, it may not be something that's in the bylaws as a requirement. It was just a volunteer thing so that we could stay connected with what they were doing with the transportation. You're a liaison. So that means the information that you get from their meetings, you come back and bring that to the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, because that's part of the neighborhood. As far as transportation, I think it opened up the doors for a lot of other different things that were happening in different communities, as far as I know, bike trails or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, that was all of those things were impacted by that. But for right now, if Elizabeth, if you would just, until we can get some more clarity, then maybe if you're there, you can come back and give us some information on what's going on as a liaison. How does that sound?
Absolutely, I'll do that. Who would I need to get in touch with to be on the list for those meetings or know when they are?
Dawa?
I can get that information to you, Elizabeth.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So has everyone had a chance to
I apologize. Again, I'm sorry, but is there then a motion to, yes, accept Elizabeth's volunteer, but what I'm putting forward is that there be a review, if this is a matter that is important and it has been a matter of tradition, that the bylaws reflect that. If they do or they don't, be amended to that point so that this is established and clear and black and white for everybody to refer to in the future.
So you're putting a motion on the floor?
Correct.
Doing? And so you would have to have a second. What I think I want to say that we're going to do, I think, JP, I think what we're going to do is not discounting your motion, because it seems like no one wants to second it right now. Elizabeth she's going to function just as she's going to volunteer, and she's going to get information to bring back to us. But part of our new business will be that we will look into if that's part of the bylaws, if it's in black and white, and if we need to incorporate that into our bylaws. How does that sound? Does that sound all right? Because I think that's what we were trying. We were just saying, Elizabeth, we were just saying that. Would that work?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to advance.
So that's what we'll do. And let's just hold that on to new business so we can get all the pieces. Because I know Greta had her hand up, but she was on the bylaws, that working group. So go ahead, Greta.
I just wanted to say that the reason I didn't second that is because, generally speaking, I feel like I don't want to require anybody to be on two boards. And even if you're just a liaison, you have to spend the time to go to those meetings. And this goes with our number 8 on the agenda as well. I feel like NAC alone is a large time commitment. And so asking as a requirement to be on NAC and go to other boards is just a lot. So That's just why I didn't second it. I don't want it to be locked into the bylaws and make it a requirement.
Mhm.
Elizabeth?
Yes, and I think to that point, it might be helpful if there's someone on the, excuse me, on the multimodal commission that wants to come, as long as we have somebody reporting, if whether it's a member of our group that is the liaison and goes to both, or whether it's someone from the multimodal commission that just pops in so often and gives a report. That's either way is okay with me. I'm happy to fill in the meantime until we figure out what we want to do, or we can just reach out to multimodal and say, hey, can somebody come give us a report?
Okay. Sharon?
Like all boards and commissions, they have meeting minutes. So, I mean, that could be, because I know it's going to be difficult to get somebody on multimodal. As Greta mentioned, it's a huge time constraint to get them to come to us as well. So I'm thinking, Elizabeth, in my thinking, if you can't make it, then we can always pull up the agenda items, and if something triggers our curiosity or more information, we can always reach out to multimodal and say, hey, what's up with this? You know, if you can't always go and attend a meeting.
So, Dawa, can you send me that information to when they meet too? Because then we're just volunteering right now. It's nothing in stone. But some of the meetings I would go to, just like Anna did, and get some information. So I can commit to doing that. So all the pressure is not on Elizabeth, but I think that I'm with Greta I really don't. We're going to check into that, but we're going to go on, because that's what we're going to go into that next time. New business, when we find out more information and how we'll do that and what's going to happen. And it might just be that Elizabeth may go, I may go one time and come back and give a report. I mean, it's open. Like you said, minutes are always open. You can always find out what has been said at a meeting. So it's not like it's closed off. So we can get that. Okay. So, did everyone get a chance to read the annual report that goes to council? And if you did, do you have any questions or any suggestions or anything that you would think that needed to be addressed or sent that was not on the report? Darwa, do we have to make a motion on that?
I believe you do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I need someone to make a motion that we adopt the annual report to council. State your name and then the motion.
This is Wendy Hayes. I make a motion that we accept the annual report to council.
All right. Can I get a second? Give me your name first and then.
This is
Peter
Sharon.
Abt.
I second. Sorry, Peter.
It's okay.
Sharon is second.
It looks great.
I'll get you off the hook this time, Peter. I'll catch you next time. Okay, so let's go down. Let me see if I can find. Okay, here you are. Bobette Mays, aye. Greta?
Aye.
JP?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Is that everybody?
Me, Wendy.
All ayes. Did I get Wendy? I didn't get you, Wendy. Why do I keep forgetting? See where your name is.
That's okay. Aye.
I see it. It's up on the mics. That's why. All ayes have it, and it's adopted. Always, we'll send it on to, let's be ready to go to City Council. Now, the 2021-2022 goals, connecting with neighborhoods, ideas to increase neighborhood registration. Has anybody, when was the last time that someone went to a neighborhood meeting? Oh, Peter, you did. And Greta, okay.
Yes, I do sometimes talk.
Okay, good.
So Wednesday, I'm getting in front of, well, let me back up. I went to the neighborhood page on the website, and reading the details, I believe I saw that HOAs are can be considered a neighborhood group for an area. So on this Wednesday, I am getting in front of the HOA board at actually where I live. It's about 40 homes. We have a pretty tight neighborhood, and it's sort of physically in its own little space. And it's called the Wilds of Chuns Cove. So I'm going to be talking to them and encouraging them to have us registered as a neighborhood. And I'm also going to take the lead on that if I can convince them. I think I can, because Sharon's my next door neighbor, and I won't lend him my ladder anymore if he doesn't do it. So, so I'm going to give that a hit, and hopefully we'll be able to put in an application for that. So I'm going to start local. Thanks.
That sounds good. Greta?
So my budding neighborhood association met last Thursday, and we are finally starting to move forward and working through some proposed bylaws, and we will be meeting again on March 7th to elect officers on our temporary board. So we're trying to get things all set up structurally, and then we're going to have elections again. We're not sure when, but sooner than later, hopefully. But things are moving, so that's nice.
Wendy?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've met with two boards. One of them was the Norwood Park, and we were talking about our upcoming grant, what they're going to be doing for their neighborhood. They were real thrilled that they received the grant dollars, and now they're looking at their neighborhood residents to help pitch in to get the job done. And it's steps that will go from Norwood Park all the way down to Luella's. And this goes all the way up to Raymouth Road. And what is so wonderful about this path is that children use it to catch the bus, and elderlies use it to get all the way back down to Merriman from this neighborhood. And so the steps have crumbled, and it's very difficult to walk because it's very steep. And so the money will go towards that particular project. The other board that I met with was the Grove Park Sunset Association, and we're excited about the grant dollars for that as well. And they are going forward to fix all the parks. So there are 4 parks in the Grove Park area. One of them is the Sunset Parkway. One of them is the Grove Park area, that as you turn up towards the Grove Park onto Macon, you'll see the park right there. The other one is the Rose Garden over in Griffin Boulevard. And so all of these parks that we're talking about, we are looking at what they're going to be doing there, but also all the islands in the middle of Kimberly and Edwin are also part of that initiative. So I'm working with Grace Neighborhood, and they are not incorporated yet, and we're working towards that. They have received a grant dollar, and Ashley was telling me she was trying to explain their project, and I really didn't get a grasp of it yet. As soon as I get the information, then I'll be able to address Lakeview Park as well. So I have 4 areas of have received grant dollars. So we're working hard on all 4 of those areas. Thank you.
Sharon?
So what I was thinking is like what Greta was doing or is doing with her neighborhood is actually new neighborhoods that are forming and will be given a name, whatever, Greta, your new budding neighborhood association is, not neighborhoods that are already formed or neighborhoods that are like Grace that are not quite, I don't believe Grace is formulated yet, but they may have gotten the dollars because they're a neighborhood, but they're not actually a what we would call a neighborhood association like my neighborhood is, which is Easton Valley. So I'm thinking that I'm looking at this, that your idea is to increase neighborhood registration means to get places like Grace aboard and have them actually register as a new neighborhood. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I think so. Get more neighborhoods that are not registered as part of this to get them involved. And so I guess that would be an outreach. And you're in which neighborhood are you in again?
I'm in Easton Valley.
Well, I missed you Thursday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm on too many boards and commissions. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm going to drop off of one of them. But I'm also connected because of my involvement with Coalition Asheville Neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
And I am deeply involved in that. I'm going to drop my my vice president, just be a member, so I can devote more time to NAC.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of dividing up the spoils of war, as they say. But so I was thinking that, and Peter asked me to come to one of our meetings, and I neglected poor Peter as well, because he's the alternative 28805. But I do know that there's so many more new ones that are coming up, that are coming through CAN, that are not necessarily coming to NAC. And so I was thinking about reaching and grabbing those and saying, hey, come on over to NAC, when you're doing all their paperwork to be involved with the Coalition of Asheville Neighborhoods as well. We're two different organizations, but we're all trying to get more neighborhoods signed up. We have the same goal. So of just getting more communities involved in the process.
Because I just want to say that Thursday, I was at Stevens Lee for East End Valley Street for the soul food.
For the soul food, yeah.
And I was called to ask to help serve. And I think they said that it was over 300 people that we served. And I thought that I applaud East End Valley Street for the fact that they did give to others instead of just keeping for themselves. And so that's what the neighborhood is about. And it was good because a lot of people in that neighborhood I know.
Yeah, we're a great neighborhood. I was sorry we didn't get any grant money that we applied for. So maybe again, but there's always more opportunities. So, but yeah, sorry I missed you.
Yeah, I was there. I enjoyed. Elizabeth?
Yeah, just a quick update for the Oakley Neighborhood Association. I think that we did get a grant for one of the neighborhood grants, and they also revised their bylaws. And we had an open streets event last August where we blocked off Thompson Street and had vendors and bike lanes and all kinds of things. We're going to do it again May 22nd. So we've got some cool things happening in Oakley. And I noticed as I was sitting in traffic on the other side of River Road, Highway 81, that it looks like they're starting some of that state road work to make the Greenway extend from the other side of Biltmore Avenue all the way down. So that's happening.
You're right. And I'm from, I live in Shiloh, and that is the area that I concentrate the most on. And we were granted, we got one of the grants, and that was for, I think that's for our community garden that we have that's been up and running for a while. Shiloh is probably the last intact African-American neighborhood. That's what we are. So we're right in the middle of reparation, reappraisals, gentrification, redlining. So we're in the middle of all of that. So it is taxing because I'm the vice president of the association, And we're working really hard to try to stay on top of everything because, and I will say, it may not hit your neighborhood now, but it will. The reappraisal will hit your neighborhood sooner or later. All the things that are coming down the pipeline, because every time developers are coming into our neighborhood and they don't want to just build the affordable houses are not affordable for us. They're or 400,000 plus in Shiloh because the property is cheap. They also want to start to bring in businesses and they want to do rezoning. And so we're fighting with that. So it's an ongoing process with us. And then we're having to think about how they will eventually want to try to move with the congestion of Hendersonville Road and Sweden Creek Road, what they will try to do to bring in I-40 connector somewhere, and that'll take away some things, eminent domain. So we have a lot of things that's going on, but as a community, we do very well, and we're very close. So is there any other community? JP, what's going on with your community, with your at-large?
So I'm in Weekend, and I've assisted in some of the neighborhood meetings more recently, and it was part of the process to getting some of those funds that will be used to fix the little neighborhood entrance signage. There's a little triangle right on Hilliard and Klingman that's going to be used to beautify some of that, as well as to help with that, what I call the Whistle Pig Hill, which is that large swooping hill that is all the way from the top of Park, right behind All Souls Pizza and that entire area. So we're looking forward to that. And I also participated in some of the business. They're not technically part of the neighborhood, but they're still a very important constituent to this part, which is some of the business associations of the River Arch District, which, as you know, there are 3 large construction projects that began this year and that are soon to begin. And those projects have a lot of impact on traffic and business access and patterns of parking and other issues. So everybody around here is very hot regarding those topics. So that's where most of the focus has been on trying to get people's feedback about how those projects are going to impact not only the neighbors directly, but also some of the businesses along Roberts and along Clement Avenue Extension, because it's going to be a pain. It's going to be very painful for them for the next couple of years.
Okay, any more comments? We're doing good today. Our time is doing real well. The agenda items for the next or upcoming meetings. Okay, Sharon.
I forgot a new business. Is anybody interested in working on a focus group, working on a subcommittee regarding the focus groups on giving more information so we all understand it more? Other than me?
Can you elaborate?
Well, I was involved in the second stakeholder focus group. I was the only one that spoke. And I've also, I'm on the Urban Forestry Commission and on CAN. And so I've heard about the boards and commission reduction, and I am alarmed for many reasons. I can see some reasons for reducing some redundancy, but they're going from 20 boards and commissions down to 4. And that's quite a bit. And when the last discussion of it, I was heard that they were using Charlotte as a template, but I've since researched and found that most cities around us with comparable population have at least 18 boards and commissions. So I can see the need with some commissions, but what they're trying to do is break it down into, compress it down from 20 to 4. And a part of, I've got a lot of issues and I've spoken up a lot on it and taken up a lot of time. So I think it will impact NAC for sure. And I do believe that because it's going to impact us, that we should be aware of where the impact could come and what it could look like. And then I'm all for keeping an open mind that they're going to be doing testing with other boards and commissions, but we should be aware ahead of time so we're not surprised if it comes to fruition in any time soon. So I have a lot of information on it, but I tell you, it's kind of like open space. You've got to be willing to want to get into the weeds and talk about it and talk about things that aren't so necessarily interesting, but will impact all the boards and commissions without a doubt. And in my opinion, not in a good way.
So if I'm not mistaken, the focus groups, that's why I encourage everyone, if you can, pick one of those dates that the time is good for you to listen in on it, because it's a proposal. It's not anything that they've started. It's just something that they're talking about. They want to continually get input on it. So they need voices to say, like Sharon, what she may not like about it, or what would be impacted by it. That is why I said that with NAC, we have to start remembering that we're part of a neighborhood. So if we want to still be intact with the board and with our commissions and stuff, boards, we have to show that we're doing some work. So I think that from what I gathered, because it was not as many people on the focus group that I was on the day before that, because I wasn't on with Sharon, but they were saying that a lot of boards were not doing anything, or they were not participating. They weren't coming to the meetings, and I can't remember all the things that was said, but it was just a pilot. It's a plan. It's something to think about, but we do need to speak up. We need to ask questions. And if you need to have a working group so that you can sit down, I'm just stacked high. So I would not be part of that working group, but I think that if there's something that you would like that, that Sharon is talking about, that you can sit down and you can see what they're talking about, but actually be involved in being at the focus groups, and you would be able to hear for yourself. Because somebody always can hear something different or something more than what someone else heard. Mm-hmm. So, okay, Greta.
So I'm going to the one on Thursday. I guess I'm not clear on what you're asking for, Sharon. You want to talk about it afterwards?
Yeah, a working group, 3 of us to get together. And I have a lot of information. I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of, I've attended everything so far. We'll continue to attend to more. I've got a lot of notes I've taken from the meetings I've been on, and a lot of questions to submit to the city. So what I'd like to do is I'd like not to be the voice of one, and I'd like to not always be the contentious one. Seems to be my lot in life. But and I'd like to see NAC get a consensus opinion on something and know what we're headed for, or where possibly we could go.
Okay, I see hands raised, but let me just say this first. What if we were to say that if you attend one of the focus groups, so then you could get a clear picture yourself of what they're talking about. And then after you've attended the meeting, the focus groups, then they can get back with you, Sharon, if they want to be a part of that work group. So you should have Sharon's email or her contact information. And if I'd rather do it that way, because that would give Greta's going to attend, if Elizabeth's going to attend, if Wendy, then you can get that kind of, you'll hear it and you'll see it. And then that'll make it easier for you all when you all sit down to talk about it. And whatever ideas you may have, that what you might have perceived that may be coming down, and y'all can kind of sit down and work through that with the ideas that you have, because there'll be a lot more other focus. This will not be the end. So we'll give you a chance to say, well, okay, well, this is what I'm gonna bring back to NAC, because this is what we have done as a working group. This is what we've seen, and then we'll have an opportunity to say, okay, yeah, we kind of, so we can all be on the same page. We all have to agree that this is what we're gonna do as a committee. So Wendy has her hand up.
Thank you, Bobette. I would like to go back to Dawa and ask you to resend the dates and the times for everybody to be able to have that information, please. Thank you.
Sure, it would. I'm happy to do that, and it is on the website under news. So what I would do, what I would just let y'all know, I'll just grab that link and send that out to all of you all.
Okay. Greta?
That sounds great. I was just going to say, I got to save the date, and I thought I was going to get a follow-up email once things were posted, and then I don't think an email came, but I don't know if that was just to NAC or if that was like to all the boards and commissions, but just wanted to mention that in case there's other people waiting for an email to say, okay, you can sign up now.
That I will pass that along to the city clerk's office. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I have a question about another work group, and maybe this isn't the right time, so you can tell me so. With the volunteer of the year, I know we were getting the application sort of redone. Is that our Greta or Mike? I'm not sure who else is on that. I volunteered, and are we moving forward with that now?
As far as I'm understanding, it's on hold because Jeremy left.
Okay. Good. I thought I had missed something, but no, I thought it's still on hold. All right. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go to the agenda items for the next or upcoming meetings. Thoughts on the board training winter 2021? Dawa, do we need dates for that? Is that what that is, or is that just?
I think that one has been traveling for quite some time. I'm not sure when it was put on there, but I did see when I was putting together the agenda that it said fall 2021. So I guess that's up to you all if you think that it would be helpful to have that board training. I'm guessing that's the one from the city clerk's office, and when might be the best time for that.
So do you need to get some more information to Sharon and I on that? Because I'm not quite sure how we would handle that for the board training.
Gotcha. Sure, I can do that. Let me reach out to the city clerk's office, and so that helps me, Bobette. So this was this would be for the chair and the vice chair going through that orientation from the city clerk's office.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I can bring back details on that.
Okay, Sharon.
Yeah, the last board training I went on was before COVID, and it was held at a A109 or wherever it was. So I didn't know, were they doing board training Zooming? Because there was a bunch of us from boards and commissions all around. It just wasn't it just wasn't the USC is what I'm trying to say. It was a whole load of us. So
Dawa can get us information, and then when we meet Sharon with Dawa, we can get more information.
More information. Okay.
Okay, let's do it like that.
Okay.
Dawa, I'm not. Excuse me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had a comment on the next one. I'll wait till you get there.
The technical review committee, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm on TRC with UFC. We had all these acronyms. And I do know that Anna had been trying to set it up for Chris Collins. And I don't know what exactly she had in mind to talk to Chris, but I do know Chris is swamped. And this is about the fourth time that this has been put off. And I was going to say, if there's something that Annette needs to know about TRC, I've been 3 years on it. I may be able to answer some of the rudiments of questions, but I think, to be fair to Chris, trying to get him to come and answer random questions from us is kind of a big ask at this point in time for him, in my opinion.
So do you think, since you are on that technical review, since you're on that, can you come back the next meeting and give us more information on that?
Yes, I can. And if the questions get above and beyond, either Dawa can ask or I can research it. But
Okay.
I've got a good broad from 3 years being on TRC. And I think it would just take it off of Chris's agenda, because this, like I said, is the fourth time.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, concerns, comments? I think we've done well. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, March the 28th, 2022, and remains virtual. Check on the city's engagement hub for more directions on how to participate. I will now join the meeting unless any objections, so adjourned.
Thank you.
Hope you'll have a good rest of the evening.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed every minute of it. Y'all are a good group. We're getting there. They're not gonna knock our committee down. We're gonna we're gonna be hanging in there.
Everybody quick, look busy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. Thank you, Dawa.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Dawa.
everybody.
Bye.
See you all.